So, for example, let's have this one. So, the first solution na to ang i-apply is the special product. So, get the square of the first term plus square of the second term plus square of the last term. Then, plus, we will pair them then times 2. So, the first pairing that I will have are these two. Okay? So, that would be 2 times 5a squared times negative 4b squared. Plus, the next pairing I like would be the next one, this. So, mahimo na ng 2 times negative 4b squared times 3c squared. Plus, unsa pa may wala nato na pair. Diba, this 2? Kani sila. Then times 2 na pod, so that's 2 times 5a squared times 3c squared. So, this is our expected solution. Okay, again, you square each term, you square all the terms, so we're expecting 3 squares right here, kani. Then, the next 3 terms, we will pair each term then times 2. Okay, for example, ang kanina part, 2 times 5a squared times negative 4b squared. And the next part, kanina po na itong partner, 2 times negative 4b squared plus 3c squared. And the last one, 2 times 5a squared times 3c squared. Okay? Ana, medyo daghan-daghan tagi pair, pero using the pattern, I think it would be quicker. Okay? So next, simplify. 5 squared, that is 25. A squared squared is a raised to 4. Ay, wala di squared ani, okay? Negative 4 squared is positive 16. B squared squared is b raised to 4. Plus, 3 squared is 9. Then c squared squared is c raised to 4. Then simplify. 2 times 5a squared, that's 10a squared. Times negative 4b, negative 40. A squared, b squared. Okay? Next one. 2 times negative 4b squared is negative 8b squared. Times 3c squared, that's negative 24, b squared, c squared. Then, 2 times 5a squared, that is 10a squared, times 3c squared, we got positive 30, a squared, c squared. So after simplifying, we got these results. Now, let's look for like terms. So again, if they are like terms, their literal coefficients are the same. So we've got a raised to 4, b raised to 4, c raised to 4, then a squared, b squared, c squared, and a squared, c squared. So I think it's safe to say that we don't have any like terms. Thus, this is now our final answer. Uy. Ayan. So this is how we do the square of trinomial. Let's try number 20. Ayan. It has the same pattern, mga good. So number 20, so still the same. Get the square of the first term. Again, this pattern works if we are squaring a trinomial. Okay? Ingani porma. Trinomial ang nasa sud sa parentheses, then gi-square siya. Okay? So get the square of the first term. Next, get the square of the second term. Next, get the square of the last term. The next is, we will pair each term then multiply by 2. So, kani una to i-pair. So that's 2 times 3x squared times negative 5y squared plus kanina pa itong i-pair 2 times negative 5y squared times 4z squared plus kanina pa itong i-pair 2 times 3x squared times 4z squared. Then let's simplify. 3 squared, that's 9. X squared squared is x raised to 4. Negative 5 squared is positive 25. Y squared squared is y raised to 4. 4 squared is 16. Z squared squared is z raised to 4. Now let's simplify the next 3 terms. 2 times 3x squared, that's 6x squared. Times negative 5y, that's negative. Ay, ano na day? Negative 30x squared y squared. Sunod. 2 times negative 5y, negative 10y squared. Then multiply na pod ane, that's negative 40y squared z squared. Then 2 times 3x squared, 6x squared times 4z squared, we've got positive 24x squared z squared. Now let's try to look if nakapabatay like terms o pwede makombine. Wala na. So this is now our final answer. Ta-da! Okay. So I think we're now ready to do the number 11. By the way, what if di mo ganahan mag-memorize? So you could still use the box method, no? Again, pwede ni nato gihapon ma-expand as 3x squared minus 5y squared plus 4z squared times 3x squared minus 5y squared plus 4z squared. So pwede rin po na siya ma-expand. So if ever you don't want to remember the pattern or memorize the pattern, so just expand it as it is. Then you could also use the box method. So I think let's just show the box method kay mas organized man gud siya. Sige. Let's do this if ever you don't like to memorize the pattern. Okay. So let's start. So 3x squared times 3x squared, that is 9x raised to 4. So not 3x squared times negative 5y squared, that's negative 15x squared y squared. Again ha, if we multiply, Dexter, if we multiply monomials, we just add the exponent, okay, of the common variable. For example, ni 3x squared o ni 3x squared, common variable si x. So copy x, then we just add their exponent, okay? Add the exponent if you're just multiplying the monomials. Next, 3x squared times positive 4z squared. Z ni siya ha. We've got positive 12x squared z squared. So we're done with the first row. Let's proceed to the second one. So negative 5y squared times 3x squared, that's negative 15x squared y squared. The next one is negative 5y squared times negative 5y squared, that's positive 25y raised to 4. Then negative 5y squared times positive 4z squared, that's negative 20y squared z squared. So we're done with the second row. Now let's proceed to the third one. 5x squared times 3x squared, that's 4z squared, I'm sorry, times 3x squared, that's 12x squared z squared. Dexter, OA lang. Sunod, 4z squared times negative 5y squared, that's negative 20y squared. Oy, one more, huh? And the last one, we've got 4z squared times 4z squared, that's positive 16z raised to 4. Ay, na red. I'm sorry. So this time, let us try to check whether we've got like terms. So kani, like terms ni sila. No? Okay, same as silang literal coefficient. Kani pod. Like terms na sila. Same og literal coefficient. Then, lastly, kani. Like terms po na sila kay same og literal coefficient. Now, let's add them. Combine like terms ta. So, 9x raised to 4. Wala mo siya ka-like terms, so we could just copy them. So I believe this diagonal line right here, wala sila like terms. So just copy them. Okay? Sunod, ang kadto ng mga like terms. So kani sila. Negative 15x squared plus negative 15x squared y squared is negative 30x squared y squared. Okay? Both are negatives. So dili siya 0 ha. So negative 15 plus negative 15 is negative 30. Ana na siya ma-0 if their signs are unlike. So for example, it's negative 15x squared y squared plus 15x squared y squared, ana na siyang ma-0. Okay, I think that's the common mistake in our previous activity. So if both negatives lang, then we are asked to add them. So add the numbers and just copy the common sign. So negative 15 plus negative 15 is negative 30. Okay, the next one, positive 12x squared z squared plus 12x squared z squared, that's positive 24x squared z squared. And the last one, negative 20y squared z squared plus negative y squared z squared is negative 40y squared z squared. So this is now our final answer. Yan. So if we compare it to our answer with this special product, they're just the same. Okay? Even though they're not in order, that's still okay. No? So that's how we answer it. Now let's proceed to number 11. Oh, let's just use the special product for number 11. Okay? We are involving fractions, so it's quite long. Sige, let's have this one. So squaring a trinomial. So you get the square of the first term plus the square of the second term plus the square of the last term. Plus, just pair them natin times 2. Dito na lang taan eh. So, 2 times the first term times second term plus 2 times second term times third term plus, hindi na makasigo, no? Plus 2 times first term, ano na ito sa pikas para di siya matandog. Plus 2 times first term times last term. Ay, medyo taas, no? Sige lang. Simplify. 4 squared, that is 16. A squared is a raised to 4. 2 squared, that is 4. Then 3 squared, that is 9. No? A squared, then b squared. Then 1 squared. Negative 1 squared is positive already, right? Negative 1 squared is 1. 2 squared is 4. Then b squared is b raised to 4. So we're done with the first 3 terms. Now let us try to simplify this one. So again, if ever nga dili pa nakalimot pag-cancel og like terms, so just multiply all the numerators over multiply all the denominators. For example, kani, so that's 2 times 4 is 2/3. So automatically whole numbers have 1 as a denominator. So 2 times 4 times 2, that is 16. Then 1 times 1 times 3 is 3. So we've got positive 16/3. Then ang ila ang literal coefficient, a cubed b. Plus, ano na punta? 2 times 2/3 times negative 1 half. So, over 1. 2 times 2 times negative 1, that's negative 4. 1 times 3 times 2, that's 6. Negative 4 sixths, reduced to lowest term or simplest form, that is equal to negative 2/3. So, di na siya positive. That's negative 2/3. Ang B, A, B, cube. Then the last one, so that's 2 times 4 times negative 1 half. So, over 1 over 1. 2 times 4 times negative 1, that's negative 8. 1 times 1 times 2, that's 2. Negative 8 divided by 2, that's negative 4. A squared, B squared. Now, let's try to check for like terms. Kasi na tayo like terms. Diba? Para silang A squared, B squared. So, we need to combine them. So, this involves dissimilar fractions, no? I hope you remember how to solve them. Asa naman ta mag-solve tapit? So, 4/9. Manta. Nabay space pa. 4/9, ani na lang. So, 4/9 minus 4. So, again, whole number automatic nga 1. So, dissimilar fractions man sila, so let us make them similar. So, what is the LCD of 9 and 1? It is 9. So, 9 divided by 9, that is 1. Times 4, that is 4. 9 divide, kung nga na, divide. Okay? 9 divided by 1 is 9. Then, kana na po times, that's 36. So, they are already similar fractions. So, if similar fractions, it's easier na. We just copy the common denominator. Then, simplify the numerator. So, what is 4 minus 36? That's negative 32. So, the final answer would be 16 a raised to 4. Then, kaning a squared, b squared, nahimo ng negative 32 over 9, a squared, b squared. Then, just copy the rest. Nga dili na siya ma-simplify. Ay, nasa ubos ng uban. Ano na answer? So, it's really very important to remember how fractions are solved. Number 11 naman talagang pinaka kanang taas ang solution ani, no? Sige, let's proceed to number 12. Number 12, mura ra siya lisod tan-awon, but if you could notice, there are certain patterns or kani siya, di ba? Si 2a, parehas sila nga 2a, parehas po sila nga 3. So, we could just apply the special product, right? So, you get the square of 2a minus the square of 3. So, meaning, if we multiply this, the product is simply 4a squared minus 9. No. Then, we're done multiplying the two factors. So, ang product niya, i-multiply na po diri sa nabilin. So, that's 4a squared plus 9. Luckily, if you could notice again, the pattern, di ba? This could be answered using the special product. So, they are the same na 4a squared, same nga 9. So, we'll do the same thing. We get the square of 4a squared minus square of 9. 4 squared is 16, and a squared is a raised to 4, minus 9 squared is 81. Nga na lang. So, maunang advantage, if you could recall the special product patterns, kaya if na ay ma-apply ng special products, it makes the solution easier and quicker. No? Okay? If wala mo kabantay sa special product o pattern, so, mag-FOIL method, mapapamuan ni, so, medyo taas-taas ang solution. Okay? Number 13. So, I think ang nabilin na lang, mostly, kay hopefully sa'yo na lang. Okay, next. Binomial, then E cube. Please remember this. This is part 4 of your worksheet number 2. There are 4 steps here. Okay? So, if i-cube gali nimo ang binomial, so there will be 4 steps. So, first step is you get the cube of the first term. Then the last step, diba, is get the cube of the last term put gihapon. Okay? Remember, this is the first term and this is the second term. So, first step, you get the cube of the first term. Then last step, you get the cube of the second term. Then the second and the third step, you'll just follow this pattern. There is a constant 3, then you multiply it with the first term and the second term. Now, what's the difference between the two steps? So, in the second step, you square the first term. In the third step, you square the second term. Okay? Then you simplify. 3 cubed is 27. X cubed is x cubed. So, that's done. Now, multiply this 3. Before you multiply this 3, you get the square of this expression first. So, 3 squared, that's 9. X squared is x squared. So, this one is 9x squared. Okay? So, 3 times 9x squared, that's 27x squared. Times 4, that is, pila man na? 81. Dili di ay layo ara kay sa answer. 108. 27 times 4, 8 to 108. 108x squared. Do the same thing with the third step. You get the square of this term first before you multiply. Okay? 4 squared is, so that's 3 times 3, 9x, times 16. Ilan na 16? There's 9, 5. 144. So that's 144x. And 4 cubed is 64. So we just copy them as one whole expression, 27x cubed, positive 108x squared, positive 144x, positive 64. This is now our answer. I think most of you remember this, no? This pattern because from our previous activity, mas na-correct pa mo ane kaysa atong square sa binomial. No? So it has the same pattern to be used kay a binomial, then cube. Okay, so 4 steps gihapon. This is the first term. This is our second term. So first step, get the cube of the first term. Last step, get the cube of the second term. Okay? Then for the second and the third step, so constant, 3 times first term times second term. Third step, same. And then again, what's the difference? For the second step, you square the first term. For the third step, you square the second term. Then let us now simplify. 4 cubed is 64. Then x cubed is x cubed. Then for this, get the square of this expression first. So 4x squared is 16x squared. So 3 times 16x squared, that's 48x squared, times negative 5. So that's negative 240x squared y. Next, you get the square of this one first. So negative 5y squared is 25y squared. So 3 times 4x is 12x times 25y squared is 300 xy squared. Lastly, negative 5 cubed is negative 125, then y cubed. Then write them as a single expression. 64x cubed minus 240x squared y plus 300x y squared minus 125y cubed. And obviously, wala na may like term, so this is now our final answer. Okay, next. This expression, it just needs distributive property. So, kani siya, multiply dire. So, that's negative 7x squared y cubed times 4x cubed plus, kanina po silang duha, negative 7x squared y cubed times negative 6xy squared. Okay? Then, the last distribution, kaninang last term, plus negative 7x squared y cubed times 3y raised to 4. So, simplifying further, so again, when we multiply, add the exponent of the common variable. So, ani, the common variable is x naman, so just add these exponents. So, negative 7 times 4, that's negative 28. Then x, add 2 plus 3, that's 5. Then copy y cubed. In here, negative 7 times negative 6, that's positive 42. Then the variable with the common variable nila is y, and x po di I. Okay. So, copy x, add their exponent. Kung wala galing makita ang exponent, automatic 1 na siya. So, 2 plus 1 is 3. Then y, copy y. 3 plus 2 is 5. Negative 7 times negative 3, that's negative 21. They only have the common variable y, so copy x squared. Then add the exponent of y, so that's y raised to 7. Now let's try to observe whether they have common variable. Common like terms. Wala na, no? So this is now the final answer. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, so this is square of a binomial. So saan ganina siya? Get the square of the first term. Then for the middle term, 2 times the first term times the second term plus square ni second term. Okay? So again, square niya. Then sa last term, square niya. Sa middle term, i-multiply, then times 2. So balik-balik na dyan ang ito ang pattern. So simplify. So that's 9. A raised to 6, B raised to 4. 2 times 3 times negative 4, that's negative 24. A cubed. Kani, i-add ang exponent. B raised to 5, C raised to 4. Then, positive 16, B raised to 6, C raised to 8. So, power pa power, multiply the exponent. Kung ingani nga multiply ra mo o common nga variable, again, just add the exponent.